Alright, Shalom, Shalom. This is your brother Issachar coming back at you with another lesson. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect and the 144,000 scattered across the four corners of the earth. Shalom to you. Alright, in today's lesson, we're going to go into waiting on the Lord. Okay, how important it is to wait on the Lord, but to make wise decisions, not just to react on just your own thoughts, You see, that's something that is very important, because in this time that we're entering, it's going to get very, you have to tighten up out there, all of us, you got to stay locked in, and sometimes you got to make moves where you're uncomfortable, you don't really want to do that, but, you got to do it for wisdom, It's just the way it is, like, let's say even like if you take out your family, let's say you go to like a fair or something like that, or, the mall or wherever, like let's say you plan a family trip, you've been waiting for months, but let's say when you go there, it's bugged out, the scenery, you know how it is out there, it's bugged out, there's demons out there, you can feel it, you brothers out there know what I'm talking about, you could discern, if it don't feel right, if there's like people there, gangs there, and it's like, hey, this is not good, hey, get out of there, don't try to do things on your own, even if it's simple matters like that, like just going to the mall or something like that. If you feel something is not right in the spirit, hey, check out your surroundings, get out of there, okay, use wisdom, all right, don't just be like, oh, well, whatever, the Lord got it. Yeah, the Lord does got it, but don't be simple as well, okay, this is just something just from experience, this is just to share with you brothers and sisters out there, don't just be like, don't be simple at the same time. Yes, the Lord will protect his elect, but also that don't give, don't be willingly ignorant. Don't just be like, well, the Lord got it, fuck it, I'm just going to go in the situation anyway. There is going to be times where the Lord is going to test you in those matters, but if you can avoid it, do so, even if you're waiting, like, let's say you're like, man, I've been saving for 3 months and, we wanted to go on this family trip. So what? Get out of there, get out of there fast, don't do things on your thoughts like, hey, well, well, I wanted to be here, so I'm just going to be here, so what? You don't want to do stuff like that, This is the book of Psalms, chapter 27, verse 14. Wait on the Lord, Yahweh. Be of good courage. Right. See, that's what, be of good courage. So don't be no wimp. Okay, don't be a simpleton. Alright, don't just be like, well, I'm going to go in there, fuck it. No. No, fuck it. No. Hell no. What do you mean, fuck it? This is something you got to, excuse my Italian, you got to use wisdom and discernment in this time. Remember, there is going to be situations where the Lord is going to have you in that just to kind of see how you're going to react. But, if you can avoid things like that, and the Spirit's telling you, okay, this is not good, get out of there, You see? And he shall strengthen thy heart, your mind, okay? Because, before you make decisions out here, because out here, remember, this is coming real soon, no jobs. Okay, so remember that, we have to occupy till the Lord comes. But remember, you really have to have that mindset of, of just getting your daily bread and be content with what you have. All right, that scripture says, be content with your wages. Yeah, we're entering a time where you're not even gonna have wages. Remember, there's gonna be no work out here, so you have to have like a soldier's mindset. Not carnal, like, oh, I'm ready just to throw blows right now. Who wants it? No, okay? All right, don't be a dummy, okay? Hold your horses, Relax. Relax there, hombre. Calm down. Okay, it's you have to have a soldier mind state, like, well, whatever. If I gotta move from my apartment, okay? If I gotta move from my apartment, if I gotta lose this car, if I gotta lose this, my SUV, you're gonna have to do so. Don't hold on to stuff. Remember Lot's wife. And those of you, the hopeful elect, you guys know what to do, but you gotta keep on, refreshing yourself. I speak for myself first and foremost, because out here, especially in Babylon, it's very easy to get distracted and comfortable. Remember, complacency will kill you. Because if you're comfortable, like, oh well, you don't want to do that. And remember, some of you out there, switch it up a little bit, because some of you are used to, like the same old routine. This is just a suggestion. Not telling you guys what to do, because those of you guys are the hopeful elects. You guys are the Lord's servants. You're not my servant, but I'm just encouraging you and giving you suggestion as your brother. As your soldier, as your fellow soldier in the faith. In the trenches. See, just to let you know, from my experiences and from what I've seen, just to give you words of encouragement, a little bit more direction, of how to walk in this thing. You see. Wait, I say on the Lord. All right, so that's Psalms 27. That's King David. Okay, Psalms of David right there. All right, so wait. Okay, David right here. King David saying to wait. Come on, that's David. For those who don't know, in the reincarnation, let me let this noise pass by real fast. Bear with me, Salakia. Okay, so, King David, he was Moses, and he was also Peter, okay, in the reincarnation. So he was Moses, King David, and then Peter, all right? And then also he came back as King Marshall. Elder King Marshall. Yep. Those of you in the truth, you guys know, what we're talking about, But hey, Captain Crunch, like Elder Barak says, hey, if that dude don't repent, he's in for a harsh judgment, Oh yeah, because he's like deliberately attacking Apostle Tahar. He's not just like, oh yeah, like IUIC, like just saying, oh, those guys are a bunch of bums. No, that dude, what he's doing is an act of war. Okay, he's literally like attacking Apostle Tahar. He can literally be one of the high priests or Pharisees and Sadducees coming back. I truly believe that, because the way he's approaching it, it's like an attack. It's not like just, oh, hey man, Apostle Tahar, you're old already, retired. No, he's like attacking them, like he's trying to get Apostle Tahar thrown in jail. Yeah, and woe unto thee, Captain Tazariak, young man. Woe unto thee, young man. Woe unto those of you that bear false witness. False witnesses, remember, Yahushua said offenses must come, but woe unto thee that the offenses cometh. Because you guys got greater sin. Because yes, the elect, especially the prophets, are going to go through stuff, persecution, but that's as written, baby. Look what Yahushua did. Remember when Yahushua got betrayed by Judas Iscariot? All right, Peter was so upset. He grabbed that sword and chopped that soldier's ear off. But that's a perfect example for us to remember. Because don't get carnal. Don't worry about, hey, the agents over there. Hey, they're doing their job. We're doing our job. We just tell you guys about that. It's not to like threaten them and stuff like that. And it's just to let you guys know like what's going on out here. You see. But remember, that's why you want to stay in the spirit. Because what did Yahushua say? Yahushua didn't say, hey Peter, come on, let's go. Let's roll on these Romans. Forget these dudes. He didn't say, oh, Jews are scared. How dare you? You piece of crap. You piece of shit, Excuse my Italian. You see? He said, oh, hey, you betrayed the Son of Man with a kiss, because he stood spiritual. Why? Because he knew that had to happen. Prophecy had to fulfill. So that is a perfect prime example, okay, Um, that is a perfect prime example of how to be. Because what did he tell Peter? Hey, put the sword down, and then he healed that soldier's ear. Those of you that don't know, when Peter struck that soldier in the ear, he chopped his ear off. Okay, yeah, Peter. Remember, Peter. Hey, that's King David. He's one of the baddest warriors on the planet that ever lived. You're talking. Come on, you're talking about David here. All right, Dawada. You see, hey, huh? So when he struck that soldier in the ear, Yahushua told Peter, "Hey, put the sword down." He goes, "Don't," because it's not like that. So remember, that's why we walk in the spirit. If these remember, because we got enemies out there. If they false accuse us, build up charges, cases, that's all right. Remember, don't fear. All right. Look where Yahushua is at now. Okay. Isaiah chapter 40 verse 31. But they that wait upon the Lord Yahweh, listen up. Check this out. Shall renew their strength. Because the elect, you guys, the 144, remember, you guys, the house of David, you guys are here. Not all 144,000 are here on the earth. There's a few that are back in the spiritual realm, but most of them are here. Okay, walking the planet Earth right now. See, and the Lord's gonna restore you. Give you back your power. Yeah. Remember, because the 144,000 go way back. They're the first spirits ever created. The 144,000, you guys were with the Lord before the planet Earth was even created. Before the animals, before all this was even created. The planet Earth. Imagine? Yeah, the 144 are not ordinary men. Huh? Shall renew their strength. Why? Because they once had this. This is why, okay, it's not just to be like, oh, forget the heathen, you guys ain't nothing, ha ha ha, you guys are going down. No, because they know, okay? Because they read. All right, remember, the 144, they know, the house of David. Okay, because this is why they're so afraid of the 144 being activated. Because they know once the 144 be activated, that's it. But especially when Yahushua gets here. But that's all on that. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. Okay, so what does that mean? They shall mount up with wings as eagles. Because the 144,000. Remember, Akim Akwath, brothers and sisters. Okay, Akim means brothers. Akwath means sisters. For those of you that are just coming into the faith, and are learning the Paleo Hebrew. Yeah, that's our old ways. Okay, the Lashawan, that's our ways right there. The Lashawan Kadash. See, they shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. Yeah, so the 144,000. You guys ever seen that movie? The Flash? Okay, that's exactly how the 144 are going to be running out here, like the Flash. Literally. Psalms 130 and 5. I wait for the Lord Yahweh. My soul doth wait. And in His word do I hope. Right, because this is where we put our trust, brothers and sisters. Akim Akwa. Alright. We put our trust in the Lord's word. Alright, we're not going to put our trust in these jobs. But also, okay, just remember, just because, the Lord says, put off the ways of this world, doesn't give you a green light to act like a nigga. Okay? And that's real right there. All right, pay attention, Don't just be like, well, hey, the Lord said, fuck it, so I'm just going to treat these heathens like shit. I'm just going to, when I work at my job, I'm just going to be a nigga and, show up late. No. Okay? Don't be like, oh, well, the Lord said He got it, so, I'm not going to worry about nothing. No. Don't be a dummy. All right, don't be a dummy. See, all right. The Lord said, take care of the things that remain. So the things that you do have, take care of it. Wash yourself. Be responsible if you can. Get a little workout in. Go for a walk if you can. Some people are not able to like get on a full-on workout. Go for a walk, around the block. Anything, anything. The Lord said, "Occupy till I come." But that don't give you a green light just to be a simpleton and a nigga, right? Okay, so the things that we do have, take care of it. To what you can. You know what I'm saying? You don't got to go all overboard, but so like just do the best you can. Okay, don't you don't have to overdo anything and be all Superman, but you know what it is. Just handle your shit. Okay, just like that. Just handle your business. And when the Lord cuts certain things off, then that's the Lord. Trimming your lamp. You're supposed to trim your lamp. You're supposed to examine yourself daily and see, okay, well, what's getting in the way from me serving the Lord? Cut it off. Cut it off. Cut it off. That's something that we all got to do. Because this place it's like that. All right, that's something that's very true. Because you can be so caught up in this world. Let's say if like you have family. For an example, if you're a brother out there that has a wife at home, and you got a couple of children, you can be so busy where you're in a routine, but you don't even know it, because you're like, oh, I gotta go take the wife here. Saturdays, Saturday nights we hang out. Sunday I gotta take the children to sports. Yes, I get it, but remember, make sure that whatever you're doing, that you're putting the Lord first. Are you making your shows? Are you fasting? Remember that, okay? Yes, it's a beautiful thing to be a responsible and good parent, but of course, take your family out. Do what you gotta do. But at the same time, remember, are you getting too comfortable? Are you getting too used to the family routine? Or after camp, are you finding yourself running back to your house right away? Are you linking up with brothers? Or are you just right away? You're just going right home because that's what you're used to. I understand sometimes you're like, hey, you know what, I have no one to take care of my daughter, my son, so I had to pay a babysitter or something, so I had to go right away. That's understandable, okay, stuff like that. But if you're just trying to go home right away just so that that regular routine right away, and you're not really spending time with the Lord or with the brothers, that's not good. So you want to change it up a little bit. And, you want to get out of that comfort zone, And remember, not saying that's not a bad thing, because, a lot of us, that's what we got to do, You got to go back, you got to take care of the family. I understand that. But just remember, don't let that get in the way where you get too comfortable, where you're too used to, like, routine, You see? Because there's ways, to make adjustments. You know what I'm saying? For those of you, handle your stuff, but remember the Lord, too, Don't get too comfortable. You have to be in a soldier mind state out here. So you gotta be ready, Because at any time, the Lord can, 1 second, let this noise pass by. So, because you never know, because this place could be under martial law any minute, with United States going at it with Venezuela. What do you got? You got Iran, United States and Israel about to attack Iran. That's beautiful though, because that's according to the scriptures. You see, so the Lord's getting this thing going. So anytime, can you imagine, these sleeper cells or, these, like ISIS, whoever, whoever they are out here, the Russians, the UN troops, they could send a pocket nuke out here, throw an EMP. Remember, this thing could be on and popping anytime. Yeah. And that's for real. That's real talk, because don't think that just all these wars are happening to Russia and Israel, but, America is just going to remain untouched. No, the Lord's about to touch this place. And when the Lord does it, he's about to hit this place hard. Okay, real hard. So remember that. Okay, war brings reality. So these jobs, these cars, these houses can be shut down and you won't even probably be able to go back to them ever again, Things can change in a matter of hours. It's not to be all paranoid and like, oh shit, It's just you got to have that state of mind. Okay, it's not just to be all paranoid and looking over your shoulder like, hey, hey, it's about to pop off. No, it's, what I'm saying? It's, you got to have that mind state, okay, of readiness. See? You see? But in the right way, not just out here all stupid, you know, just being a dummy. Use wisdom, okay, use discernment, and do it the right way, you know. Psalms 37 and 34. Wait on the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, and keep his way, and he shall exalt thee to inherit the land. There it is. Okay, so the land, because inherit, because why? Because we got next. The Israelites, okay, we got next. Who are the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. You see? Okay, so we got next. And so we're going to inherit the land. The planet Earth, this is our planet. See that? So don't even worry about the heathen. You know, they say, oh, this and that. We got next. Okay, they're going to be our slaves, the heathen, the Edomites. Let them talk trash, let them talk trash. It's like when you're it's like a bad child, you know, when he's grounded, he's inside his room, he's kicking the walls and all that, but you already have the door locked. Like, he ain't going nowhere. Let him kick the wall, you know. If he wants to hit the wall with his fist, go for it. He's only gonna break his wrist or hurt his hand. Same thing with the heathens. Let them talk shit, you know. Let them get mad. They're not going anywhere. The Lord has them surrounded. Just like that. So if they want to, throw tantrums and act like brats, that's fine. But remember, they're in trouble. You know, they're in trouble. They have to pay for what they did on the earth. So it's like that, you know. You see? And, okay. When the wicked are cut off, thou shalt see it. Right there. Okay. Let me read it again from the top. Okay, this is heavy right here. All right, Psalms 37 and 34. Wait on the Lord, Yahweh, because this is what we're doing. We're waiting. You know, we're not getting guns and, all right, they're about to attack us. Hey, just like Yahweh said, they come and, attack us, then, we're hoping that the Lord will defend us. You know, this is what we put our hope in. You know, and if we got to go to jails and stuff like that, so be it. You know, we're gonna praise and glorify the Lord in there, like Daniel did in the lion's den, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, Peter when he got thrown in prison. You know, he wasn't like, oh man, see, when the soldiers grabbed him up, was Peter like, oh man, you see, I knew it, I did all this for nothing? Did he start saying, oh, forget you, Lord, and all that? No, he held it down, and the angel got him out that night. Samson, when Samson was binded up by our people, okay, because Samson was our own people, the southern kingdom. They were afraid of the Philistines at that time. They binded up Samson because he was a wanted man, our own people, you know. But he didn't curse the Lord. He believed in the Lord, and the Lord helped him and gave him spiritual power, and those bands just broke right off, and he smote 1,000 Philistines with the jawbone of a donkey and ass. So it's just like that, you guys, you know, because you're going to be put in situations, but the Lord's going to be with you in the fire, like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, you know. So you got to have your faith even in the trying times. Remember, just because some individuals go to jail, they lose their jobs, that don't mean that the Lord's not with you. That's just a test. Like, okay, are you gonna call on the Lord first, or are you gonna murmur? Are you gonna curse out the Lord? You see? So remember that, you guys. It's very, very important, you know. And I speak for myself first and foremost, because we're all getting put to test, you know. Easier said than done, but this is why you have to have that mind state. For real. Like for real. Psalms 37 and 34. Wait on the Lord Yahweh and keep his way. Keep the Lord's way. Yes, don't take the RFID microchip, and don't follow the so-called white man with his New World Order. Keep the Lord's way. Okay? Remember that. And the Lord, shall exalt thee, and he shall exalt thee to inherit the land. Right, because the Israelites, we got next. Verse, let's keep going. Check this out. When the wicked are cut off, all right. So, one of our elders said, okay, the elder Uriah, okay, from the GMS Los Angeles camp, you know, is a beautiful brother right there. He's a soldier for the Lord, absolutely. You know, he said, hey, just grab your popcorn and watch the show. And he's right, you know, and that's these are things that I'll be telling my my brothers in the faith, when I spend time with them, when I link with them, like, hey man, like the Lord, because the Lord said, only with thy eyes, Psalms 91 and 8, when the wicked are cut off, thou shalt see it, because we're seeing right now these nations, what, Iran going at it, the U.S., Israel going at it with Iran. That's the Edomites, okay? America, the leaders of America, because you have Israelites in the American military, okay? You have Israelites in the American military, okay? Not everybody knows that they're Israelite, but they're Israel, you know? Because you have Jake, that are Marines or generals, because Jake is the salt of the earth. Jake does everything, all right? The tribes, but also remember that the leaders of these wars, because this is something that we don't got to worry about, because this is not our fight, okay? The leaders of the U.S., the leaders of Israel, okay, the leaders of Iran, that's the leaders of the U.S. and Israel, those are Edomites, okay? The leader of Iran, that's Elam, okay? They go back to the Persians, okay? So at the end of the day, they're all heathens. The Russians, those are Edomites, okay? China, that's Moab, okay? Japan, that's Ammon. So these are all our enemies preparing to fire ICBMs at each other. And what are all these presidents and leaders talking about? If you threaten their motherland, they're going straight to the ICBM, which is beautiful, because the Lord is about to have our enemies cancel each other out. See that? So when the wicked are cut off, thou shalt see it, because we're seeing it. Because it's you monkeys out there, it's you heathens, yeah, and you guys are monkeys. It's your fight. We can care less, If Russia bombs the shit out of America, we don't give a damn. We were brought over here in slave ships. Remember? Now you Edomites say, this is just an FYI, okay? You Edomites brought us over here in slave ships, and now you say, go back to your land? Well, shit, take us back. You think we like staring at you queers? Hey, you brought us over here in slave ships remember? And now you're saying go back. Well, shit, take us back. Claire, the hell? Hey, no problem, We don't got to be here. But if the Lord wants us to be here, then we'll be here. Wherever the Lord wants us stationed, we'll be, But that's just to let you know, remember, all these wars and all that, who is it? It's our enemies, the heathen. So rejoice in the Lord. Okay? So don't get physical. Don't even be upset. Rejoice. Because right there, when the wicked are cut off, thou shalt see it. Because we are seeing our enemies tear each other apart. So with that, all praises to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Wait on the Lord. Lord willing, this was a faith booster to you. And remember, just slow down, baby. Okay, slow down a little bit. Okay, for those of you out there, slow down a little bit. Pray. Ask for the Lord to direct your path. Okay, Proverbs, I believe it's 3. Proverbs 3. Lean not into thy own understanding. Okay, lean on the Lord. All right, and you have to really believe that. Don't just be like, yeah, I call on the Lord. No. And throw up some weak prayer. No, believe in that prayer, but really believe that the Lord is going to guide you. Okay, slow down. Okay, slow down. Okay, you have to really believe that. Don't just be like, oh, well, I call on the Lord, so, hey, don't play. Okay, stop playing. Really believe that, brothers and sisters. So with that, on your feet, soldier. Shalom.